The sparkling red fireball lit up the dank alley, making shadows bounce off the stone walls. The heat and malevolent aura of the dark wizards saturated the air around Izzy and her parents. They hadn't seen the attack coming, not at all. They were walking home after seeing a movie during the last bit of Izzy's summer vacation before she started high school. Her mother pushed Izzy behind her as she deflected the fireball. She fired a return shot and knocked one of the wizards off his feet.
"Not here,"
her father growled, his long silver hair blowing back from the force of magic.
"We don't want trouble."
The dark wizard cackled from the shadows. "Trouble? Too late." The fight began in earnest, and clouds of smoke rose from the crushed stone along the walls and the smoldering ashes of the magical fireballs. Izzy brought her hand to her mouth to cover the stench, then determinedly put her hands out in front of her. If there was going to be a fight, Izzy wouldn't back down just because she was a teenager. Her chest warmed as she pulled the light to her. The magic rolled from her fingertips into her palms, and she swirled it around, collecting more and more energy. "Find your target," she whispered before jumping out from behind her mom. She threw the fireball as hard as she could as it struck one of the wizards in the chest. The man flew backward and crashed into a wall. Pieces crumbled down from above, covering him in dust as he groaned, his shirt smoldering and smoking.
"Good hit, Izzy."
Her dad looked back at her as a stream of light clashed with the oncoming blows. "No! She could be killed!" her mother cried desperately.
"She knows how to fight for her life, just like the rest of us."
He gave her a comforting look and reached out for her hand. Her mother nodded, then pulled her long dark hair behind her and secured it at the nape of her neck. The three stood facing the onslaught, as the dark wizards shot magic from their wands. Izzy stood between her parents, her shining arms stretched out in front of her, and her beams of light mixed with theirs. The light and dark streams collided and rained down, but suddenly the attack stopped. Izzy lowered her hands and squinted down the dark alley. A tall man, his hood pulled low to shadow his face, cackled loudly as he stepped forward. Izzy's father sent a fireball toward him, but the man swished it away with his wand and ignored the explosion behind him. He moved slowly forward, deflecting every attempt they made. He and the other wizards raised their wands, sending dark streams down the alley. Izzy and her parents dove to the side, rolled across the ground, and pressed their backs against the walls. The wizards cast a torrent of fire that crashed over their heads, barely missing them. Izzy tucked her head as her father stared at her mother. He nodded, and the three of them stood up, dodging dark magic by mere inches. Izzy remembered what she had been taught, brought the energy into her stomach, and forced it through her hands. Bolts of white light whizzed past the wizards, catching their cloaks and sending white flames up their backs. Izzy's mother followed up with a spray of sparks, causing some of the wizards to scream as they ripped their cloaks from their backs. The head of the group shouted and threw one large orb down the alley, but Izzy and her parents stood ready to deflect. As it hit the center, it burst into hundreds of smaller orbs. Izzy slowly backed up in alarm as the dark magic plowed toward them. Her parents stepped forward and lifted their hands, their light shifting in front of them and spreading out like a translucent wall. As the orbs hit the light wall, they burst as sparks sizzled to the ground. Izzy looked at her father, whose hands shook. He had blood trickling down his arm from his shoulder. One of the orbs had broken through and hit him, but he held firm.
"They are tiring," her father called, "but this will only hold them for a moment. Be ready to run."
The light made by her parents glowed brighter, and the wall turned into a thick fog and blew toward the wizards, knocking them back. The fog hid them for the moment, but it was already starting to dissipate. Izzy's parents grabbed her hands and rushed her out to the sidewalk. The people walking past looked at them strangely, since her father was grasping onto a bloody shoulder. "Move fast," her mother whispered.